Welcome back, you filthy exiles. So, obviously, the worst thing that could have happened has happened today, which is Path of Exile 2 has been delayed for 3 weeks. But there'll be a lot of people that will be saying, oh, this is bad form. The reason why, though, they've been very transparent around. And as someone who works in the IT field, I thought I'd sort of regale in some of the tales and things like that that I have dealt with for very similar situations with infrastructure implementation. But yeah, anyway, let's get into the video and let's have a talk about it. But I think first of all, let's have a look at the video in question, and I'll put a link in the description as well to the original video around the confirmation of the delay.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rogers, Game Director on Path of Exile 2. Unfortunately, I have some really bad news. We have to delay early access for 3 weeks. The new date is the 6th of December. I'm really sorry about this one. People plan time off and things like that around our launches, but we just have to do it. So what happened? Well, it turns out it isn't really the game itself that we're behind on. It's a bunch of server-side infrastructure work that has taken us a lot longer than we expected. Now, one of the key promises we made is that all your microtransactions will work across both PoE 1 and 2. In order to do that, we have to integrate the account systems for not only PoE 1 and 2, but also for the console realms as well. This meant changing a lot of things. Not only do we have to create a bunch of new systems, we have to make sure that all the old data is backwards compatible with them as well. And when you start migrating databases that are this old and with this much data, you find all sorts of strange demons in there. How do multiple accounts get the same name? How do multiple accounts get the same email address? How do multiple accounts have the same Steam IDs? Why is this person's account name just random gibberish that doesn't even decode? We have to get everything perfect so that nobody loses anything they paid for and nobody has their account broken. At the same time, because we're changing all this backend code, we have to do a lot of load testing to make sure the whole thing doesn't fall over when they get the huge number of players that we're expecting at launch. I actually believe that we could possibly have made the original launch date, but I'm no longer confident we could do it without making mistakes. And these are the kind of mistakes that we just can't let happen. So with that in mind, we've decided to delay. Now this one's totally on me. I just didn't leave enough time to make sure we could get it done, and I'm really sorry. This one really hurts. Now we're going to be having a live stream talking about all the content you can expect in PoE 2's early access in about 4 weeks. You can think of it like the biggest league announcement we've ever done. I'm really looking forward to telling you guys about the end-game content that the team have been working hard on. Until then, thank you very much for your support.
Okay, so why do I think that this messaging is okay? And I think that's the most important question here around why should we not be concerned by this? Well, number one, transparency, right? So being a dev and having this huge following for a video game, you know, creators putting videos up and whatnot, boosting it, it puts a lot of pressure on the situation, number one, especially around managing expectations. And look, this is one of those scenarios where, and I've said even professionally to many people in my career that quite often I respect you more for telling me that you've screwed up than if you try and hide the problem and or let it run through the wicket keeper and then inevitably everything breaks and then you're sort of sitting there trying to pick up the pieces going, why did this happen? How did you let this happen? And, you know, what's the path moving forwards? Because now it's going to be 10 times harder to fix than if you spent that little bit of extra time sort of, it's the old concept of measure twice, cut once, right? So number one, transparency. So they're being transparent, and that's really good. That's a really good position to take, and I'm all for it. And it's part of the reason why I'm not angry about this situation, which would be crazy to be angry about a video game not coming out on the scheduled time. But I'm mainly annoyed because I put leave in, but I'm still going to take that leave because, I need to do things like be an adult and have a life. But anyway, beyond that point, they're being upfront about it and also stipulating that they have a view to quality and they're sticking to their guns on that, right? So they're not exactly just changing the goalpost here and saying, oh, we're just doing it because of the fun of it. They're giving you a pretty damn good reason, but from the very start of this entire journey of Path of Exile 2, they really were on the page of promoting quality and a quality outcome. How many AAA and in some cases quadruple A releases have come out in the last, half decade to a decade that have just been total dumpster fires? We've got examples of Anthem is a great example where this went really badly, but if we want to look at ARPGs, Wolcen is a fantastic example of where it can go horribly wrong. So I actually really like the fact that they are turning around and saying, look, we need a few more weeks to get this right on the back end. And the assurance that we've gotten here is that, like, the content is there. It's just the server system needs some work. And now we know how GGG is with server systems. And, you know, this is bigger than any one league that they've ever released in the history of Path of Exile. So, you know, they're going to want to come out the door going hard because that's what it takes to compete these days. And they want to separate themselves from every other game that's coming out and basically being, you know, we're going to come out hard, fast, and we're going to be awesome at everything. And it's going to blow your socks off. I really like that because the worst thing that could happen in this situation is you go to load in and you get a weird error, Diablo 3 and Diablo 4, or a 30 or 40 minute wait time, Diablo 4, and then it just ruins the immersion of the experience and the fun that you'll have, you know, getting into the game. So I actually really like this. I think this was a good choice on that front as well. And also just not willing to rush a launch because, you know, oh, we've got to get it out by this time, guys, we got to crunch, and then sort of half-assing it all the way through to the very end, and then, you know, you end up with a horrible launch. I still remember this happened with Guild Wars 2 as well. There's tons of examples where this has happened, and quite often it's the case where the developer isn't willing to turn around and say, hey, look, we screwed up, we didn't factor for this, and yeah, we definitely got to account for this. So I actually respect them more because of this 2-minute video that they put up basically announcing this. Now, the other thing here, and you know, looking at this from, a lot of this is to do with the MTX system and things like that. And I think I saw some comments around, you know, who cares about MTX? But if you're like me and you've spent a lot of money on this game over the years, it is a free game. But if you've put the investment into this game, I personally would like to see a quality outcome where the promises are delivered on, and I do get access to all my MTX. That was the promise, you know, that's what we paid for. The way that I feel is I've put a lot of support into the game over the years. I've probably spent a small car's worth on MTX over the years. So I would really like to see the game come out the way that it was intended to. And also I want to log in and be able to apply dope MTX because why not? Obviously we all want to see what it looks like in Path of Exile 2. And I'm no exception to that rule. I thought I'd do a quick video just expressing my thoughts on why I think this is totally okay. And I think there will be, you know, upset people. Absolutely, like, you know, we're probably going to have to reschedule leave or PTO and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, would you want to be stuck on your days off for the, you know, 3-4 days while they're trying to fix something and then you're just wasting your holidays anyway? Or would you rather just log in and have the thrill of a fantastic game you've been waiting over 6 years for just work, be awesome, and everything you do in that game just be nuts, and then you're sitting there with your buddies or playing couch co-op, and you're just enjoying the game for what it is on release day when it was intended to be played by the players? I like option number 2, personally. I'm super excited. This game makes me feel like I'm doing midnight launches in a game store all over again from when I was a salesman. And you know what? I love that feeling. I miss that. We don't have enough of that these days because we're all getting older and everything's went to online. So you know what? I actually think that there's nothing wrong with what they have announced, and because they've been so transparent, we should give them the benefit of the doubt at this stage. Anyway, if you like this type of video, don't forget to like and sub. And by the way, I'm going to do another video which goes through what we can do in that 3 weeks, because there's actually a few games coming out in the ARPG space and expansions that are totally unexpected that we'll now have the opportunity to play. Or, you know, you could just run an SSF character or a new tune, up to you. Anyway, I'll see you guys later and have a good one.